Hello, everyone. I'm Cohen, and for today's workshop meeting, we are going to go over automation and workflows. So let me first start off with, let me share my screen real quick.
By the way, do you, Brandy or Amanda, that either one of you have any understanding what workflows are?
I can hear him. I don't know how to There you go. No.
What would you think an automation is?
I have no idea, being as we literally just started using this program. We came in a little late with James, so we've not had much of any training other than with you, really.
Yeah. Well, you can always schedule meetings with us to have in-depth trainings with us. But today we are going to talk about automations, which Cohen is leading.
Basically, what automation/workflows are, they are a feature in our program that enable automatic marketing. These features use triggers and actions to automate just very general marketing tasks. Instead of doing things manually, which take time and effort, automation pretty much does it all. They manage many actions such as taking notes, modifying chats, sending emails, sending notifications, prioritizing conversations, and such. Other features like sending thank you notes, avoiding duplicate communications, and marking chats as read. Just very general stuff, but any type of task that it can be repeated consistently, it can basically be done through automation. Now, why are workflows important? You can send personalized emails to keep your leads interested in your sales process using workflows. Workflows you save time by automatically scheduling calls or appointments with potential clients, sending them reminders, follow-ups. Workflows can be modified to fit changes in the market or trends, and they really just enable businesses to achieve more without working as hard, since you're pretty much leaving it up to a robot to do some of the tedious tasks. Now, what are these workflows used for? It allows you to really capture the attention and nurture a relationship with leads. It allows you to establish workflows that automatically convert leads into contacts through funnels, websites, landing pages, and data capture forms. And these contacts will seamlessly be integrated into the program and in the pipeline. Like I said before, manages your customer relationship, helps you book appointments, and really just manage your overall campaigns. Now, I'll just stop talking and just go straight into an example of how do workflows work. So what you want to do.
I'd just like to point out one thing. While Cohen showing us how to create workflows and what they are, I would really suggest if we all could open the software on our own tabs as well, so that what he's showing to us, we can also take a look into it. So does that sound something like doable?
If everyone would be fine with doing that. If you just want to follow along and see how I open up workflows, then feel free to go ahead. But what you want to do is go to your business account, then go to automation, which is on the left-hand tab, then go to create workflow. And just for this example, let's start from scratch. And here we have just a blank slate of what we can work with. Workflows use triggers, actions, wait steps, and if-else conditions, which are basically options that branch off. And I'll just explain. So triggers right here. Triggers are what start the workflow automation process. Triggers always come at the beginning of a workflow and cannot be added midway. You can, however, add more than one trigger to a workflow. So say, for example, birthday reminder. I have one, and now I can add a second trigger if I so want to. This option is for more complex or more unusual tasks that really have multiple outcomes, but it's just nice to have the option. And after a trigger is activated, actions can decide what happens next. You can add as many actions as you want into a workflow, and there are over 100 of them available and pending, meaning that there's more to come. Multiple actions can be happening at the same time if your workflow goes in different directions. For example, if you select, let's say, for example, we want customer booked appointment and set that as your trigger, and then you can add send email. And let's use dummy user Gmail test, and there. And there you have a trigger. Say your customer wants to book an appointment. Now you have a follow-up email for whenever that customer decides to book an appointment. And next we have now without wait steps in a workflow. Without wait steps in a workflow, all actions would occur all at once, which would make a big mess of things. Say, for example, you want to basically send an email to a client, and say, for example, that client doesn't respond to your email. So you decide to add a follow-up email after that. If you don't add a wait to a list of priorities, then you would be basically sending your initial email at the same time as your follow-up email, which wouldn't really make too much sense. So wait steps slow things down so actions occur when you want them to. Simply put, wait steps are as like the brakes in a workflow to really pace things. Without wait steps, you can space out the time you send emails during an email campaign by adding a wait step of a week or a few days like I did before. I set it to just one day. And there are different types of wait steps such as event appointment time, time delay, overdue, contact reply, conditions, email events, just all of that. And that is wait steps. Next is if else. Now, with if-else conditions, you can easily divide the workflow into different paths based on the previous actions. The system knows which way to go depending on whether it gets a positive or a negative response, so there's no worries about having to get into the minute details of that. If you send an email with a booking request, you can set an if-else condition which decides what to do next based on a reply you got. So I can't really set it right now, but what you would do is if your customer sent a response email to your email, you can have it split off with if else. With did they send a response? Yes, then you would say whatever, set them as a new lead. If they said no, then you would set it to where there would be a follow-up email, so they might respond to that one. And that would be my basic explanation of workflows. If Mustafa, you would like to basically give a basic example as to
Absolutely.
a commonly used workflow.
Hey, Donnie, how are you? I
I'm
haven't
doing
seen.
good, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I haven't talked to you for a long while.
It hasn't been that long. It's been a couple of weeks.
A couple of
Busy.
weeks isn't long. Uh,
No.
I thought our relationship was paused. It was dead in the water.
I give that false impression to everybody. All right, it's
Uh,
not just you.
Lucky to know it isn't just me.
No, it's
All right.
universal.
So, yeah. Well, all right. Regarding workflows, I'll just try to recap everything that Cohen just said. Workflows is something that you do on a daily basis, and yet you want to find out if there is a possibility that it can be done automatically without your manual labor. So if you, for example, let's say you are importing a new list within your within the CRM, you would create a workflow for that. And the sections of the workflows is that you have the trigger tab on the top, and then you have the actions. So the triggers are those that enable this workflow to happen. And then actions are what will happen when the trigger happens. Again, there are many possibilities in which you may not even have a trigger, but you may have a lot of actions. Those would be when you don't want something to happen automatically, but only when you want to make it happen when you want it to. Like, for example, if you want to, you just have a lot of leads within the system and you want to assign them to a particular person, you would just assign them to a user, you would select a user, and then you would save it. Right now, we don't have any users in this particular system, so it wouldn't happen. But this has been done for many of our clients in which they would just have a lot of leads. They would put this into the workflow manually, and those leads would be assigned to the particular user. Now, first, let's understand what are all the options that are available within the workflows. Firstly, you have a name. You can say whatever you wanted to say. It will not affect the workflow, but it will be for you to come back to it whenever you want to make changes to it or check the stats accordingly. So this would be the name of the workflow. For now, it would be test 101. Then you have settings in the workflows. The first setting is allow re-entry. So what this would enable or disable would do is whenever you add some contacts, some leads within the system, if you have allowed the re-entry, then those leads can re-enter within the same workflow at a later date, at a later time. But if you have disabled this option, once a lead goes through this workflow, it will never be able to re-enter this workflow. So for example, if you're doing a nurture sequence, trying to reach out to a particular user or trying to make a reminder, once that action has been completed for one particular contact, it can never happen for that contact ever again. So what can be the uses when you need to have the allow re-entry enabled? So for example, if when a customer books an appointment, they receive a confirmation email, and if they want to book an appointment in the future, you should have allowed the re-entry. So whenever they make another appointment, they again receive that email of that particular appointment. But if you had disabled it, they would not receive it if they do it twice or thrice or even multiple times. Then you have the stop on response. The stop on response is when you are trying to nurture your clients and then you have a fresh leads, let's say 100 or 200 leads, and you have an entire email sequence. For example, if you go into the builder, you click over here, you say send email, do it again, email, send email, from a save, a.com, and this would be email number 1, save. Then you have another email. For example, I'll just copy this one, copy, move, copy action, copy here. So for example, if you have 2 emails or multiple emails, send it out to a potential clients or potential FDM list, and you want them to receive these emails. But once they've responded to these emails, either they've clicked on the link within the emails, if they've responded with a reply or anything, you don't want them to receive further cold emails because that will just bother them, annoy them. So what you would do is you'll go into the settings and you will stop on response. So whenever the person responds to a particular message that has been sent from this workflow, that person will be taken out from this workflow so that they do not get bombarded with more emails or SMS or whatever form of contact you're using. All right. Then you have the communication tab in which you can select the time zone. You can select a time window. So for example, if you're trying to send out business emails or business texts to your potential clients, you would want them to receive these emails during the business hours. But if you want them to receive only on a particular day, in a particular manner, during a particular time slot, for example, if you've done market research and trend research, let's say trend research says that people are likely to respond to an email that they receive on a Saturday. So you would unclick all of the days in front of you, and you'll just select one day. And only on this day will this workflow be utilized in sending out those emails or sending out those SMS and texts and calls. Then if you want to have a particular person who sends the details, who sends the emails, you can select it from here. So for example, if I want that whatever emails that are being sent out, it is only being sent out using my name and using my email, I can just select my name and my email from here. And all the emails that they will be receiving via the emails, they will be coming out from me. But if I have multiple emails going out from different people, maybe could be one email being sent out from the finance team, one email being sent out from the sales team. They could have different emails set up. Then you have the conversations marked as read. So what this would enable is when you go into the conversations tab, you might see there are a lot of conversations which are unread. And that could be a hassle for some people to see also so many notifications. What you can do is you can toggle this on if you want the conversations within this workflow which are happening to be marked as read. Again, it does not affect the workflow, but it's just something that you might or might not want. So it depends on person to person. Then we have the enrollment history, in which you can see how many people have been entered in this particular workflow over 30 period dates, which event has been happened. So they were added, they were failed, they were finished, and so on and so forth. And then you can see the execution logs as well. So how many people have been entered in this workflow and what executions or what actions were performed on them. So this concludes the settings. Now let's return back to the building of the workflow itself. So when you click on the add new trigger, you can see a bombardment of different triggers, and it can overwhelm you at first. But once you have understood the concept of workflows, it will be easier for you. So what I do for myself is, before entering or before trying to create a workflow inside the system, I first understand what my purpose is, what I'm trying to achieve, because that will enable me or help me in what my triggers are supposed to be and what actions do I need to happen. So for example, let's say I'm trying to make a call status workflow. So the process in my mind, the brainstorming session would be, I should have something to happen when a call with a potential client gets completed or when it gets incomplete. So the person might have, he did not answer the call. Maybe he just clicked on busy. Maybe it was sent to a voicemail or anything of that sort. And a separate action needs to happen when a call gets completed. So what I'll do over here is I will just click, type call status, select this. I would add a filter over here. So filters are what it can increase the efficiency of the workflow as to what exactly are you trying to do. So the filter is that there is a call direction. The call direction is incoming or outgoing. So for this particular case example, I'm trying to do it for all the outgoing calls. If I'm doing a cold call, then I can select the call status, or within a workflow, I'll just select a call status and I'll say completed. And just to keep this as a reminder to myself, I'll say call status completed. Save. So whenever call has been completed, which type of call? An outgoing call. So whenever an outgoing call has been completed, this test 101 workflow will be enabled. And then I have another one, which is call status incomplete. Add filter, call direction, outgoing, add a filter, call status. Let's say it was cancelled, for example. I can save this. Now, why am I using multiple triggers within the same workflow? It's because I want to keep my workflows compact. I can have a separate workflow for each different trigger. I can have multiple triggers within the same workflow. It again depends upon how you want to take this further. You might be the type of person who needs a separate workflow for each and every individual thing. And if you're like me, I like to have my workflows complex and designed in an intricate form. So everything is happening over here at once. So it depends upon your personality, your person, how you want it to be made. And if you don't know how to make it, or if you don't exactly know how to solve your problem, you can again reach out to me, reach out to Coven, reach out to Oren, any one of us, and we can help you, assist you in how to create those workflows to assist you with your problems. Then, all right, so whenever a call status is completed or whether it has been incomplete, it will send out an email after that. What other things that can be done is, if I click on here, I can either update a contact field, I can assign them to a user, I can add notes, I can send email, call. Right now, what I will do is I'll just put a wait here. So all right, so wait has already been explained by Coven, but I will re-explain it to you. What wait does is, it gives you multiple options. So either you can wait for a particular amount of time, or you can wait until and after appointment time. So let me give you a case study where you will be using the event or appointment time when somebody books an appointment with you and you want them to receive reminders accordingly. So for example, if someone has an appointment with you in 2 days, you want them to receive an email 1 day prior to the meeting, 12 hours prior to the meeting, 10 minutes prior to the meeting. And once the meeting has been completed, another email should be sent out to that person after the meeting regarding their feedback or their reviews accordingly, or whatever the next steps you want them to take. So that's how you use it. You can wait until, or sorry, you can use the overdue section of this to wait until before or after the invoice due date. So if you have sent them an invoice within the system, you can wait before the invoice has been paid or after the invoice has been paid. So it opens a lot of opportunities for you on how to use the workflows. But for right now, I would just use you wait for a particular amount of date, or I can use for a particular condition to be satisfied. Right now, I'll just use a time delay. I'll be waiting for, let's say, 5 minutes, say. Now, all the contacts that have been entered within this test 101 workflow will wait for 5 minutes, and then let me just change this so it's easier to understand. Wait for 5 minutes. Although I always suggest everyone to use action names properly, write it down what you're trying to achieve so that when you come back to the workflow, you'll know what each and every action is for. So save, wait for 5 minutes, send out an email, then send out another email. I would delete this one right now just because I want to. And now you can have, let's say, an if-else statement. So if-else, what an if-else would do is, if I have multiple conditions that can be done. So for example, if the email has been opened, if the email has been clicked, if the email has been gone to spam, separate things should happen. This is when I will be using the if-else function. There are other functions as well, which a favorite function of mine is split. Now this is done for those people who try to experiment a lot. So for example, if you have a cold email leads and you want to send out multiple variants of an email. So you have, maybe Amanda has a different approach to an email, Randy has another approach, Donnie has another approach, and I have another approach to send out a different email. What you can do is, you can just simply add multiple paths, A, B, C, D, change their percentage accordingly, save it, and it will open up 4 different paths. So in other words, in marketing terms, it's usually told as split testing or A and B testing. So you can have multiple different variants of the same thing just to see which one is outperforming the other. And then if you click on the stats button, enable the stats view, you can see how many have been delivered, opened, clicked, replied, bounced. So as a 101 to automations, I think this would be enough information to digest. But if any of you have any questions so far, I would love to hear them.
I do have a quick question. Is
Yes,
this
Amanda.
template type thing what you use to send out the emails to us?
Yeah.
So the reminder email I got from you did this way.
Yes, because it would be very hectic for one person to keep all of the tabs to understand how many people have booked. So instead of me having to have all of these notes and send them out manually, it's easier just to use an automation. And a basic way of understanding automation is the reason why we use a card to transfer us from one place to another is because of the efficiency, the time it saves, the amount of manual labor it saves. So it's basically engineering or automation. They all serve the same purpose, to help us to automate all of our manual daily tasks so that we don't have to spend our valued time on the same task all over again and again and again and again.
So it'll send it through, like, because it came through my regular email and not like the OverPower. So it doesn't go just through that. It actually goes through your regular email.
We can select it as the way we want to. We can send it out from my email. I can send it out from my personal email. I can send it out to as any way I want it to. So again, the opportunities are limitless, and it's very easy to get confused within it. So that's why I always prefer to tell people to first think about something, what you want to achieve, how you want it to achieve, brainstorm about it. And if it helps, you can even make notes prior to building a workflow so that when you're building the workflow, you will know exactly what to use and how to use it. And then again, you have the experts in front of you. You can book an appointment with us at any time you want, and we can help you solve your problems. If you want to be trained about it, we would be more than happy to teach it to you as well.
That's
But
what I was just about to ask. If I could set up something with you I would like to do one as a follow-up to my cold calls on some of the ones that do give me their email addresses and seem semi-interested. I would like to automatically be able to send them an email.
Absolutely. So if you're doing a cold calling and the person has completed a call with you, you can send out an email automatically saying, thank you for taking the time to speak in with me.
Okay.
And if there's something else you want to add, maybe would you like to schedule another appointment? Or if you want to assign them a tag that says
Okay.
call completed or something like that. Or even if you want to move them from the opportunity board. So if you're using the pipeline and you want them to be shifted from the new leads into warm leads, it can be done. So whatever thing you want it to happen, as long as you can visualize or understand it within yourself, it can be done over here as well.
Okay. When could I set up something to possibly get one of those done?
Well, easily. All you have to do is, even right now, what you can do is, I'll just delete this one. On the left-hand side, if you just scroll down, you can just click on schedule a meeting, and you can schedule a meeting with me
okay.
or Cohen at the first available time that you can see in front of you.
Well, I'll probably take a day and, like you said, troubleshoot what I want to say, how I want it formatted, and I'll get that set up. And then I'll definitely set up something so that way I can get it created, because I don't think I'd be able to do it on my own yet.
Yes, absolutely. But what I would just advise everyone is, on your own time, whenever you want to, just go into the automation.
Oh yeah, I was playing with it.
Yeah, that's exactly. Play with it, and then you will be able to understand all of the opportunities that can be done in front of you. So the more you invest your time into it, the more ideas pop up, and that's the best thing about it. So okay. So yeah, this is the ones in front of you, and if you think that you want to just start working on something already pre-made, you can just click on create a workflow, and in front of you, you will have multiple recipes in front of you. So if you want to have an appointment confirmation, reminder, survey, review request, you can just select this. And once you are entered within this workflow, you can just change out the specifics.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to definitely get my paper and pen out and go through some things, write down some things, and get me a little format going.
Absolutely.
And then get you help me to finish it.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
That's why we are here for. All right. Let me
Sounds
just.
good.
Okay. So that would be it. Is there any other questions, Brandy, Donnie?
I'm good, sir. I think I'll do what Brandy does and probably reach out, schedule an appointment, set up some flows, get a better understanding so I don't mess it up.
Absolutely. Because one of my suggestion or one of my opinions basically is that the best way to utilize this particular feature of our CRM is that you book an appointment with me and you just tell me how your day or your week or your month exactly goes. All the things that you do on a daily basis, and that will enable me to understand what are the things that you do on a daily basis that we can automate. So that would save a lot of your time. Made sense?
Very cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. Again, so the next meeting will be held next week. Will be still about automations. So we will take in a much more deeper dive into all the other kind of triggers and all the other kind of actions. Probably some case examples as well. But if any one of you have anything specific that they want to learn about or discuss, we can have that made in front of you as well. Sounds good?
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Not a problem.
Definitely.
I just hope that you enjoyed this conversation, this webinar, and I'll be hoping to see you all soon.